considering the variety of Space Marine chapters and the unique look and lore each has, it's a pity that the Adeptus Sororitas don't get the same treatment. If you want to play Sisters of Battle, you've basically only got one choice of aesthetic: nuns in leather corsets with a fire fetish. So let's fix that. I started by choosing 5 alternate torsos for my Sisters of Battle: Demigryph Knight, Sicarian Ruststalker, Aurelian Sentinels, Guittari Ranger, and Tempestus Scion. For each, I used green stuff to attach and sculpt a little bit more organic of a waist between them and a pair of Sororitas legs. I actually quite like the original model's legs, as they're less explicitly nun-esque than the rest of the Sisters of Battle aesthetic, and they're also essentially the only good female legs at the scale I need. I did later shave off the bumps on them, and pretty much every original Sororitas bit I used after this I did the same, as the bumps are really reminiscent of rosaries and a big contributor to the nun aesthetic. Each of the torsos gave the sister an immediately different energy. The Demigryph one practical and robust, the Ruststalker one slim and a little creepy, the Aurelian Sentinel fresh and refined, the Guittari gothic, and then Tempestus Scion kind of just silly. The torso is simply too squarish and large compared to the slim legs of the Sororitas, so I decided to scrap it and focus on the 4 other sisters. Some torsos required a little more work than others to attach. The Guittari torso in particular gave me a lot of trouble. Its robes kept hitting the flowing skirts of the Sororitas. To get it to fit, I shaved off parts of both pieces, but even so it left a big gap at her waist that I filled with green stuff, but ended up disliking how tall it was, so I revised her later so her torso would sit lower. For 3 of the 4 remaining sisters, I attached the original Sororitas reactors. It helps tie them in visually as the same faction. The exception was the Ruststalker torso, which I gave instead a Guittari backpack. I liked how it helped enhance her already slightly techie and weird aesthetic. Sourcing arms for my newly assembled sisters was a pain. The scale of the existing bolters and flamers of the Sororitas kits fit each of the 4 torsos fairly well, but I wanted to move away from the leather nun aesthetic as much as possible. A better option was the arms from Sisters of Silence. They're the correct scale, and I liked their plate armor, but essentially all of them are holding their guns or swords in front of their chest. This would be fine in a full army, but for the purposes of this conversion, it obscured the new torso and sort of defeated the purpose of giving them one to begin with. Eventually, after a lot of off-camera tinkering, I settled on a hodgepodge of limbs from different kits for my sisters. My Demigryph Knight sister I gave the armored arm from a great sword kit, and replaced the sword with a combat knife to continue her practical and no-nonsense aesthetic. I love the pose of it, like she's drawing herself up to face Heretic or Xeno with combat knife alone. I hate basically all of the Sisters of Battle heads, so for my sisters I decided to use 3D printed ones I found on Shapeways. They're not quite as battle-hardened as I'd like, but I think are a lot less kitschy than the regular Sororitas heads and also give each sister a lot of personality. I think this one in particular gives her a practical look with just a touch of elegance. For the Aurelian Sentinel sister, I combined a Guittari arm with a Tempestus Hellblaster for her main weapon. I liked the way it made her look like a bit of a scout sniper, so I enhanced it with a Genestealer arm holding what looks like a mine. It's not a full-on battle charging stance like most models have, but I think still has a good sense of movement. The Ruststalker sister I gave the chainsword from a Penitent. The arms are originally from a Dark Elf Executioner, with the sword swapped for a chainsword with a lot of the decorations scraped off. I'd hoped that the raised sword would look a little more like a waiting stance than charging forward it does, but still fits her pretty well. The Guittari sister I gave the bolter from a Retributor squad. The main reason is because I love the idea of a sister hauling a heavy bolter into battle, while the secondary one is that it hides the weird transition at her waist. In descending order, my favorite sister is the Demigryph one, Sentinel, Ruststalker, and finally the Guittari. While the quality varies, I think all were successful as proof of concept of what alternate Sisters of Battle could look like. Each has their own energy, and you can easily imagine each with their own distinct culture and planet of origin in the same way each Space Marine chapter does. If you liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and check out some of the other conversions I've done. I also have a Patreon you can contribute to if you want to help the channel and get some cool rewards. Thanks for watching.